What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about neck knives. I just took off my neck knife of the day. This is a fast pack, an L Max from Rainier Knives. One of my favorite and one of probably my nicest neck knives, really. I just absolutely love this thing. Just super sharp, super pointy. The L Max is fantastic. Handle's comfortable. The kind of fatter scales here just fit the hand nice. Full finger choil there. Just a cool tool. So yeah, let me grab my phone here. We're going to be talking about an article that I shared on Instagram. And this is like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or so. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already saw it. But, all right, so here's the story. It's a Massachusetts dad accidentally stabs himself to death while wearing a knife around his neck. Horrible tragedy. Yes, that would be a horrible tragedy. Yeah, so a guy stabs himself to death. Now, someone sent this to me. Actually, 3 different people sent it to me over the course of probably a week. And when I first saw it, I thought, wow, that is a horrible, horrible thing. Then I wanted to know details, right? So I tried looking up the story. I found it on a couple different news outlets, and all the stories were the same, and it left me wondering even more. So I would think that, the story would say, okay, this guy fell and, his knife came out of his, sheath or whatever, and he fell on it. And it impaled him and hit an organ or bled out, whatever the case was, and he died. Super sad, right? The story did not say that. Actually, the story said that he was found dead on the wall. I don't know if he was dead on the ground, or I think maybe he died on the way to the hospital, but long story short is he was found with his own neck knife in his body. They didn't say his chest, abdomen, stomach, neck. They didn't say where, actually, at all, which was odd to me. They're not going to tell you what knife it is because most people don't even know or care. That's obviously something a knife person would be interested in, like, hey, what knife would it be? Now, as a connoisseur of neck knives, I want to know what knife what it was, because I have a lot of experience with neck knives, and I'm very curious what type of sheath it had. I would love to see a picture of the knife. There's no picture, there's no information, there's nothing. Not even the fact that someone saw him. No one saw him fall on his own knife. He was just found in a parking lot somewhere on the ground with his own neck knife stuck in his body somewhere, which we don't know. They didn't disclose that. So obviously that seems like a huge red flag to me. As someone, again, who's worn a neck knife for over 2 decades, every single day, everywhere I go, I know there's always a chance that it could fall out of the sheath. That's happened to me probably a handful of times where I had maybe a cheaper setup, or it was a loose sheath, or it got, tugged or snagged somehow and it just kind of fell out of the sheath. I've never hurt myself. I never even damaged clothing. I can only remember of one time where it literally just, I did something and I was bent over and it fell out, and I heard it go like, on the ground, like da, da, da. And, I immediately stopped carrying the knife. I don't even remember what it was. So a poor fitment of the blade to the sheath, yeah, maybe that can happen. Or in one of my cases, I know it was a leather sheath and it was right side up. So it was like this, and then I had like, a neck lanyard that went above, and it wasn't tight, it wasn't fitted to the sheath. And I literally bent over and it just kind of like, it slipped out. So it's sitting loose in a leather sheath, and if I bend over right in the right position, it falls out, right? So that's a no-go either, right? Most people have some kind of retention, some kind of Kydex or something that it doesn't, obviously it's hanging upside down, so it doesn't want to fall out. So, yeah, I mean, I have a million questions after reading the article, which answered none of them. They created even more questions. So the first thing I thought was, well, was this foul play? And when he was found, the police, when they arrived, they thought it was foul play. In fact, the article says, at first, they thought it was foul play, only to determine that it was just a tragic accident. I don't know how they determined that. How do you determine that? That no one actually stabbed him, unless he was able to talk before he passed away on the way to the hospital or something. Hey, what happened? And he said, oh, I fell on my knife. Maybe that's possible, but the article didn't say that. There is just no information. If you guys can find any additional information on this particular story, I'd love to hear it, but this is super, super vague. But I know people are going to have the question of like, is it safe to carry a neck knife? And I've gotten that question for years. And a lot of people don't think it's a good idea for various reasons. Some people don't think it's a good idea because if you have paracord or something, you know, maybe it gets hooked on something else and it chokes you. That's a safety hazard. Some people think it's a bad idea because what if you get into a physical altercation and now you have a weapon on your chest? Does the other person take the weapon from you and use it on you? That's a concern for some people. I would say 9 out of 10 people who carry their neck knife probably carry it concealed, right? They have it underneath their t-shirt. No one sees it. They know it's there. They take it out if they need to use it, but it's not exposed. I open carry my neck knife everywhere. Now I have concealed carry it. That's only where I'm not allowed to have it. I can openly tell you that, like, if I went to a fair or an amusement park or something and, like, you know, I wasn't technically allowed to have it, I just tucked it in my shirt. No one's the wiser. It's not a big deal. No one ever gets hurt. It's not a problem. I really don't care. That's a risk I took, right? So it seemed to always work out. Doesn't mean it always will work out. Maybe it's not the best idea, but it's just, I do what I do. I'm not perfect. But yes, I've concealed carry it. Many places that I wasn't supposed to have a weapon, like the county fair specifically. This year, I don't remember having, you know, seen this sign other years, but they had a big sign, you know, no knives, guns, weapons allowed. And I've always had an open neck knife, always. And so as I'm walking up to the gate, I just tucked it in my shirt so you can't see it, and that's it. The old lady at the thing, you know, I paid the money, gave me the ticket, it's no big deal. And I had a wonderful time. And there was a bunch of kids and families all around, and guess what? My weapon never presented itself as being any kind of threat to anyone. Totally fine. So, yeah, whether you open carry your neck knife or concealed carry it under your shirt or under a jacket or whatever, it doesn't really matter. There are people out there who can see the benefit of this. I mean, for me, it's always been a fantastic go-to in an emergency. When you quickly need your knife, I know a lot of you, including myself, you could dip down in your pocket and grab your folder. It's not that big of a deal. If you have one, you know, that happens to be waved, it's, you know, super fast, right out of your pocket, or an automatic, or even if you don't, you could very quickly access a folding knife, flick it open, manipulate your lock, whatever. You can get your knife out pretty fast, right? But a neck knife, I mean, boom, it's there. It's just there. And specifically when sitting. When I'm sitting in my vehicle or sitting in a seat in public somewhere or movie theater, whatever, right? All these different scenarios where I'm in a sitting position, to turn my body or cant my body where, like let's say an auditorium. I'll tell you this recently. I actually carried my neck knife at my, well, you know what, maybe I shouldn't say this on a video. As I'm saying this, I'm thinking maybe not a good idea. I'll just say it was, I mean, I'm not even gonna say what it was, but I wasn't supposed to have it, right? But I'm sitting down. If something happened, if some crazy person barged in this auditorium and, you know, had a weapon or was hurting people, whatever the case is, at least I have something. You know, it's not ideal because I couldn't bring my gun. That's something I definitely don't play around with when I remember, anyway. I definitely don't bring my firearms where I'm not allowed to have them. This particular situation would have been too much of a risk, I would say. If I got caught, it would have been a felony, so I don't play around with that kind of stuff. But a knife is whatever to me. But anyway, so, you know, when I'm in that sitting position, movie theater, auditorium, whatever, you know, the seats are tight. I'm a big dude. So my thighs are, like, you know, against the seat. Now, if you're a skinny guy or girl, whatever, maybe it's not a big deal to just reach down in your pocket. But for me, and for the bigger dudes watching, you know what I'm talking about. You have to kind of shift your body to the left a little bit if you're carrying the right side so you can get in there and get your knife, right? But not with a neck knife. It's right there. Boom. That's it. No shifting, no maneuvering, no, you know, pinched leg or whatever. Just, it's right there. So that's what I've always valued, having a neck knife. Plus, you know I'm a gear person. What does that mean? It means my pockets are full. My regular pockets are full. My back pockets are full. My leg pockets are full when they're available. I got filled pockets with all kinds of crap. So to have another way to carry another tool that's not a pocket is a huge thumbs up. That's why I also value this. Not weighing down your pants for some people. I know some guys who maybe you're wearing slacks, maybe you're in a business, you know, environment, whatever. You have that knife, you want to have that security of knowing you have a knife, but maybe it's under your dress shirt or something. It's smaller, not like, you know, a bigger knife like this. Just something kind of tucked away just in case, right? Or let's say you're very athletic and you always have gym shorts and no belt or anything. You don't want to have a lot of weight around your waist. This is fantastic for that, a neck knife, right? Now, if you're super athletic, that you wouldn't want to open carry, because if you're running, jogging, jumping, bending over, all that kind of stuff, then it's swinging around. That's not a good idea. But, you know, you can have that underneath your shirt, especially if you have some kind of like a stretchy type material. It'll keep it totally in place under your shirt. or it won't be moving around. So getting back to the story, the meat and potatoes of this video, I don't know how this happened. I'm really like kind of flabbergasted because the guy's wearing this. Now let's have a first person perspective. Okay, we're the guy. He's looking down, right? The chance of his knife falling out onto the ground is already pretty rare. It's not impossible. If it's a cheap sheath, cheap knife, it's totally possible and plausible that it can fall out. So now you have to add another layer of what if. What if your knife fell out of your sheath and you fell while it was falling out? So you're falling down, and as you're falling down, right? So, you know, how often do you fall down? I don't know. I don't fall down all that much. I'm a big dude too, but I'm not falling all the time. Maybe I fall, if I really think about it, I probably fall maybe 3 times a year, and it's all in the wintertime when I step on some ice or something, you know? Or if I'm just climbing slippery stairs and that's it. Just my leg, you know, ankle rolls or whatever happens, leg splits out. So I'm not falling all the time. So the fact that my knife would have to fall out of its sheath and I happen to fall on top of it at the same time, pretty rare. But not only that, he has to be falling, and as he's falling, his knife has to fall, and it has to land in such a way so that the body weight makes it pierce into his own body. Because, I mean, I can fall, and my knife can fall out, and I can fall on my knife flat, and nothing's going to happen. I'm not going to hurt myself. But it has to be in just such a way where you impale yourself, you know, on the knife. So that would also be super, super, super rare. I think what's more common, or what could have been more plausible, is if his neck knife was in his hand doing something, and he just like tripped, and he just didn't let go of his knife. You know what I mean? Like if I'm using a knife for some reason and I trip, I'm stationary. I can't think of any time that I'm really using my knives while moving. I'm not like walking. Well, I shouldn't say it. Once in a while, if I'm walking in the parking lot, I have to cut something. Yeah, maybe as I'm walking to my vehicle, I take my knife out and cut something real quick. So let's say he's doing that. His neck knife is out. So the sheath is on his neck, whatever, it's out. This is more plausible. He's cutting something while he's walking. As he's walking, he falls. He keeps the knife in his hand, goes to put his hands out to maybe, you know, your natural reaction when you're falling, does one of these and falls on his knife. That's the only thing I could possibly think of that's even remotely capable of accidentally killing yourself with your own neck knife. So, yeah, but the strangest thing is there was no witnesses. No one saw him, what he was doing or anything. There's no explanation of why he was where he was or anything. It's just the story is that simple of a guy found with his own knife that he normally carries around his neck inside his body somewhere that ultimately, you know, caused him to pass away. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But if you saw this story, it means nothing. It's kind of like, you know, hearing the story of the guy who got struck by lightning, you know, just because that happens, and it does happen every year to some people. It doesn't mean you're not going to go outside anymore when it's a storm. You know what I'm saying? The likelihood of you carrying a neck knife and accidentally impaling yourself on it is so slim. I'd be way more worried to be, you know, killed by a shark, or again, struck by lightning, or, you know, a plane falling out of the sky and hitting you. It's just, it's so, there's no statistic. This is, my entire life, this is the first time I ever actually even heard of this. So it's way less likely than a shark attack that leads to death, by the way, because people get attacked by sharks all the time and survive. Or, you know, people also get hit by lightning and survive. Man, so it's just a crazy story. I just want to talk about it a little bit. I just think it's really weird. I don't know what the circumstances are that this ultimately happened, you know. I'm assuming that they thought that this was, like, it could have been foul play, but maybe his wallet was still on him, or so, you know, that's as simple as like a police investigation goes. Oh my God, he was stabbed to death by someone who robbed him. Let's look in his pockets. Oh no, his money's here, so this wasn't foul play. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really know. Just move on to the next story. So I don't know if he was actually stabbed, if it was a real accident, but like I said, I would be completely, what's the word? Like, I don't know, I would just be in shock if someone saw this happen. If they saw someone walking around, their neck knife's just swinging there, and Oh, they start to trip, and as they're falling down, the knife falls out, and as they're falling, fell on their knife. Oh no, horrible accident. Like if someone saw that, I just wouldn't believe it. I just wouldn't believe it. Simple as that. Not saying it's impossible, but it's just so incredibly rare. It has to be just the right situation. But hey, I mean, I guess weird things have happened in life, right? There's some really weird stories that are totally true. So I don't know what happened to this guy. I feel bad that he passed away. Obviously, he has a family, so that is, it's tragic. It really is tragic. I just don't know what happened there, and I don't think anyone ever will know, because that's it. Open, shut case. He fell on his knife, and that's unfortunate. But I don't know. I think there's more to the story there, and I really want to know what it is, and I'll just never know. So I feel like an emptiness in my life now. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you carry a neck knife. If you don't, what are the reasons why? Now, not the obvious, like I just don't care. I don't want to have it, like some people don't like having a necklace or jewelry. So having a neck knife is like just like that. Like I don't want anything hanging around my neck. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like the weight of it hanging there. I don't like it swinging when I'm being active. You know, that's totally fine. But do you not carry a neck knife because of safety reasons? You know, do you something I mentioned, do you not carry a neck knife because you feel like maybe in a scuffle or something, it poses a bigger threat? These are all things to consider. I mean, if you, let's say you get into an argument with someone and you do have a knife around your neck, that is something to consider. You know, it can, obviously the fight can escalate quite a bit, especially if you're fighting someone and they're winning and you have a knife available to you. It would be very tempting, whether it's, you know, the right situation to use it or not, to take it out and use it. I think people have gotten to those situations in the past where, you know, it could have just been a fist fight, but hey, I had a knife on me, or maybe the person you're fighting, like it's just a fight. It wasn't planned or anything, but all of a sudden it goes from yelling at each other to shoving each other to punching each other to now all of a sudden someone's bleeding and, you know, they're going to die soon. Like that's a serious thing. Things escalate quickly, especially when you have like male testosterone pumping and you're hyped up and the adrenaline's flowing and that's it. Just things happen, bing, bam, boom. You know, it's scary. It really is scary. So when you carry tools that can be used as weapons like knives, it's just like a gun. I feel like you have this responsibility to avoid conflict as much as possible. I'm not saying you have to just, you know, get beat up for no, you know, if someone wants to fight you, you know, you defend yourself. You do what you got to do, but just understand your limits, understand the laws of where you live. Because again, there's a lot of people who are innocent in jail who really thought they were allowed to do something, and it turns out they weren't allowed to do something. You know, if you carry a knife and you get into a fight with someone and they are on the ground punching you in the head and you feel like, oh, I can use my knife because I might die, and you use your knife and then they die, you know, some of those people go to jail and they say, hey, I was just defending myself. So just remember, self-defense means using equal or necessary force to stop a situation. You have the right to not be hurt. So if someone touches you first, you have the right to protect yourself, right? But it has to be reasonable. What you do has to be a reasonable thing. So let's say someone shoves you in a parking lot, you are not allowed to take a gun out and shoot them, right? That's an extreme reaction to a physical attack. So, you know, it's hard. It's really, really hard because if you carry knives and carry guns, you have to kind of interpret it for yourself what the law is, and every situation is different. There's so many different scenarios that you might think, hey, I'm in the right. I could do this legally, and you really can't, you know? So just be careful out there, that's all. But speaking of being careful, if you're carrying a neck knife, I don't think you have anything to worry about. You're probably not going to fall on it and get hurt, but I guess the chance is always there. So, you know, that it is what it is. But I just wanted to share this story with you guys. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.